Overnight, Donald Trump booed and heckled at the Libertarian Convention. This as he doubles down on his authoritarian playbook with a new audience. Plus, closing arguments just days away in the ex-president's first criminal trial. He's launching a fresh attack on the judge overseeing that case. Then, how the Biden campaign plans to go on offense when that trial ends. National Campaign Co-Chair Mitch Landrieu joins us. So grab your coffee or your tea, settle in. Welcome to the weekend. Donald Trump hopes to win over libertarian voters in his quest to win back the White House. But that might be easier said than done.
We must work together. Combine with us. You have to combine with us. We cannot give crooked Joe Biden 4 more years. The Libertarian Party should nominate Trump for President of the United States. Whoa. That's nice. That's nice. Only if you want to win. Only if you want to win. Maybe you don't want to win. Maybe you don't want to win.
Become ungovernable indeed. Your ears do not deceive you. That was the ex-president being met with boos at last night's Libertarian National Convention here in D.C. Worth noting, in several battleground states in 2020, the Libertarian candidate won more votes than the margin of victory between President Biden and Trump. Now, of course, these efforts are secondary to Trump's main electoral strategy, deny the results of the 2024 election if he does not win. Joining us now, former Illinois Congressman and 2020 Republican presidential candidate Joe Walsh and Ruth Ben-Ghiat, professor of history at NYU. She is the author of Strongmen, Mussolini to the Present.
So Joe, that went well. that was a good night out. Look, why did Trump go there? What was the point there? Because my sense was, and we were kind of talking and laughing a little bit during the break, there was a little bit of trolling going on here. He liked that money. One part of his brain was really put off by the booing because everyone should love him because I'm Donald Trump and everyone should love me. But the other side of his brain was like, okay, this is good. This is good. This is good for the brand. This is good to remind my voters, my supporters that everybody's after me. The little man problem that he has. What's your take?
He went there to troll, and not to get into libertarian inside baseball politics, but the Libertarian Party has kind of been overtaken by a MAGA wing. Mm-hmm. So I think Trump thinks he can get the Libertarian vote this year. But, Michael, I think this is, why did he go to the Bronx last week? Right. Why is he going everywhere? I think he's trying to contrast himself with Joe Biden, that he's going to get in front of any crowd. It's all perception. He said there were 20 to 30,000 people in the Bronx last week. There wasn't. Right. But he's giving this appearance like he'll go anywhere to get any vote.
Yeah. Even desperate. Ruth, I mean, that's how it sounds to me. Ruth, I too was wondering, I'm like, what is Donald Trump doing at the Libertarian Party convention or conference, especially because Vivek Ramaswamy was there earlier this week when he mentioned Donald Trump's name. There were boos then. There is understanding this now in the reporting. The Libertarian Party invited both Donald Trump and President Biden. President Biden declined. And he got a couple cheers while he was there. He got some boos. But this moment I was definitely struck by. He again talked about the January 6th protesters, not calling them protesters, though, and promised a pardon yet again. We want to play this sound for you, and I want your reaction on the other side.
It will be my great honor to pardon the peaceful January 6th protesters, or, as I often call them, the hostages. They're hostages. There has never been a group of people treated so harshly or unfairly in our country's history. This abuse will be rectified, and it will be rectified very quickly. And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
So, Ruth, that last point, the person's name that Donald Trump shouted out, many libertarians have called for that sentence to be commuted for that person. Ross Ulbricht was sentenced to life in federal prison for creating and operating a hidden website known as the Silk Road. And that website people use to buy and sell drugs, among other illegal goods and services. What's your reaction to all of this?
Yeah, so the reason he is mentioning, pardoning the lawless is that that part of his message is going to land well with libertarians who really believe that, in a very small government that should leave people free to plunder the workforce, to make money any way they see fit, and not be bound by any regulations. And there's a part of authoritarianism which is, more controls on the many, right, on the masses, as we used to say in history, but fewer controls on the elite so that they can exploit and abuse and do anything they want to do. So that's part of the libertarian appeal for some of these people. But the booing was so interesting because, to talk about what you were speaking with Joe, this is a guy who's been confined in the courtroom, and he feels that he has to be everywhere, and he needs those cheers for his ego all the more. So the booing was, perhaps he knew he would get some of that, but the booing is also a kind of lethal blow to the kind of ego that the strongman has, because the secret of the strongman is that they're very weak and they're very brittle. And so right now, I think he's going everywhere also because he's desperate for attention and for that is not him falling asleep in the courtroom.
It brings me, Michael, to what you were flagging for us, the piece from Rolling Stone about the fact that you now have two sources telling Rolling Stone that the president has been actively lobbying Republicans to pass legislation that would keep him out of jail forever, essentially. Yeah. He wants a blank check. So this idea of being ungovernable, it's not just for libertarians, it's for him. It's
for him, and it's a part of the narrative, Joe, that you see playing out. Donald Trump wants to place himself above the law because he wants to crime as much as he wants to crime, right? And he doesn't want to be held accountable for that. And he wants to do things and use government in a way to execute against his enemies, execute against those who would stand in the way of his idea of what America is, his Reich that he wants to create. You have a national polling out